Greetings, beautiful soul family. This is Tarun Hari with another special Too Much to Talk About. There's always too much to talk about with me. Always too much to talk about. And I want to continue the talk about all about the fall and do a special series on Diwali. I'm using that word Diwali because that's the word that everybody is familiar with. And we're going to discover some things about that as we go along. But as a general principle, using the word Diwali is I wouldn't say it's a swear word or a bad thing. It's like a slang word. There's a big debate if you go right back into the sort of templates of looking at classical Sanskrit and Neo-Sanskrit, there's a massive difference. And the Neo-Sanskrit was developed through Indo-Aryan communities and so forth, Hindi communities and so forth, and it's not quite the same as the original classical Sanskrit. We can go on for days about that, but when I'm bad, I stress it out. Too much to talk about. And you'd be saying, boy, Tarun, you talked about so much things. Well, they are all connected. They are all connected. Everything is everything. That's how they say it. Everything is everything. And this period, the fall, all about the fall, autumn, is so important to understand the temperaments, the process of engagement, the whole thing. And when you get it right, remember everything, we live in a world of duality. So the polarities are always present. Duality is always present. What do I mean by that? It might be seemingly bad in the space of the general thing, but there's somewhere where there's good. If you're focusing on the bad, you're going to attract more of the bad, and you're going to be about the bad. If you're focusing on the good, if you're focusing on the joy, somewhere along the line, you're going to find yourself in a joyful space and in the sweet spot. And this is what life is all about. And it sounds a little bit hairy-fairy until you do the practical work. Until you do the work. And people, why more work? Well, the work, doing it right, is actually fun. And you might be saying, boy, Tarun, there's no time for fun in this life. Well, you've got the wrong spin on things. You've completely got the wrong spin on things if you're saying there's no time for fun. If you look at fun as taking certain elements out of the process of frustration, in the word frustration, the word fun is in there, and you ditch the rest. And you'll be saying, boy, Tarun, that one day, it not make sense to me at all. How can you take fun out of frustration? And the world is in a bad space, we're in Kali Yuga and so forth. Imagine a surgical doctor. A surgical doctor has taken 15 to 17 years to master their craft. And he goes into work one day and he performs 6 operations, which is a lot of work. And he's successful at all of them. Has he had a bad day? He's looking at a lot of work. It was a successful day. You have some people at home doing their little home version of doctorate, and they're doing good in their space. But because they're not as skilled as a surgeon, they're finding completely different challenges. I remember when I was doing music, and I studied music quite deep, jazz, classical, and became quite fluent at it. And then while I was doing this thing, there was mentors in the field that I used to admire. and listening to their bibliographies and testimonies and looking at their progress. One time, I think it was Corey Henry. If you ever have a chance to check out Corey Henry, Jesus, whew. Goose pimples, brilliant player. One of the main keyboard players behind a band called Snarky Puppy. If you've never heard of Snarky Puppy, check them out. It's a set of musicians. They are the creme de la musicians in the world. Nothing like it. Check them out. Snarky Puppy. Anyway, listening to Corey Henry in an interview one day, somebody asked him, you got a lot of keyboard players out there, they get some slick licks and stuff. Is there any chance of them becoming superior in their skills if they don't go to university and learn? And he said, no way. And I sat there and went, nah, man, that's rubbish. Rubbish. He said, no way. Absolutely no way. And then he started to describe his story, and as talented as he was as a child, him actually going to the university and sharpening his skills in an environment that allowed him to become the best player in the world by associating with masters. When you see that guy play, you say, boy, best is not a word, best. And again, that concept of learning and applying and being around masters. So then when he expresses or talks about keyboard or so forth and blah, 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 whatever it is to do with music, you're listening to a master. You're listening to real knowledge. So within saying that, I see myself as really fortunate in this lifetime, being blessed with the opportunities that I've had to engage in my process of learning, not even just from the Western aspect, actually going and taking myself out of the Western world and delving into Vedanta at the deepest level, getting the highest guru on the planet. And, it's debatable, but is by the standards of those who know who he is, Sri Anantadas Babaji Maharaj, and the prefix to that is Pandit. That not all gurus carry that word Pandit. And training and working under his guidance has been a life-changing, phenomenal experience. And within all the talks that I've done and so forth, I've still got to get to the sap of what I learned from my guru. I'm still taking time to approach that arena, because again, you have to set the premise right that you're not casting pearls to swine. And outside of general conversations such as ones that I have online with people, there are times when I do have deep discussions to explain deeper concepts, more enriching concepts about the wholeness of the journey, and bringing that to, first of all, daring. It's a very daring space because it's night and day. It's night and day. The Gita says this, Bhagavad Gita says, what is to the introspective sage, what is daytime is nighttime to the average, and what is daytime to them is nighttime to the sage. What does that mean? Well, there's a concept that delusion has got 99% of the planet gripped And in this space of being gripped, they drift out of alignment of what is supposed to be for their benefit and their good. 99% of the planet. And a lot of the times when you're talking truths, because of this drifting, everybody prefers to drift rather than get in alignment with the truth. Because that's what's the fashion, that's what's the trend, that's what's the process of unnatural alignment is. And through social pressure, peer pressure, all of these things, you get sucked into it. You get dragged down by it. It's all connected. Everything that I'm saying is all relevant to the autumn, all about the fall. So when I'm not trying to put any emphasis on what I'm talking about as if to say it's something you should adhere to, but in the I normally have a saying, there's a reason why they can't put me in church. Because of the sharpness of the truth that I talk. And I don't mind. So let's go into all about the fall, because sometimes the truth is the thing that you need to set you free, to give you a chance to become. And this is all about becoming a better person, a better being, a better holding a better attitude in the process of becoming. Now, the key word that is missing or lacking in all of this is the word potential. Key word. And it's almost like everybody gets fed up of this word, potential, potential. Every minute I talk about potential. What's potential? Well, potential, let's break it back. Potential, potency. Potency. Let's go there. Let's go to potency. Let's go to, what's the opposite of potency? Impotent. Impotent. Now, if your life, your liberty is supposed to be full of potency, that you've got that attitude that when as soon as day break, you jump up, you're full of glee, you're ready to get into the world, you're excited, you're full of fun aspect, you're like this, you know, like when you see children that's ready to run out in and play and get excited and get involved and whatever the issue is, put that down, let's get back to having the fun. That attitude. Oh, there's trouble at sea. Well, let's get through it. Oh, that was fun. We got through it. You see a ship got through some stormy waters. The last thing you want to see is the captain threatened. Because if you see the captain threatened, the whole, everything done. But if you see the captain's cool, yeah, I got this. I've seen this many times. All you got to do is tie the things down, tie the boats down. Yeah, it's all right. It's just going to be a bit rough. Hold tight. Yeah, here's a big one. Whoa, did you feel that? Don't worry, we're not going to sink. You know what this boat is built for? It's got the potential to travel through the storm. And the captain sits there nice and cool and travels through the storm with a big grin on his face. Yeah, I've seen it all before. Now, the issue is, as much as we've seen it all before, we never learn. We go, oh, wave coming. Oh, wave coming. Rebecca. Oh, no, Rebecca. Run, come, the water. Oh, no, Rebecca. Well, if you prepare for the wave, if you prepare for the wave, like a surf, have you ever seen those videos of those surfers that they wait for the biggest wave? In fact, there's a competition that's held out here in Portugal It's soon to happen with the biggest waves. I think it's in Azure, if I remember rightly, or something like that. It's all the top surf riders in the world. They come, they've got ambulances on standby, everything on standby. The crowd is on standby. They know the waves are coming. They're waiting for it. Everybody's looking. Oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to watch the surfers ride the biggest waves. I could never do it. That would kill me. But let me watch the surfers do it. Wow, that's amazing. Wow. So the surfer is prepared to ride the waves. And while he's riding the waves, he's bringing joy and entertainment to everybody else that's watching, even though they're watching the wave, knowing that it's dangerous. Funny, eh? Perception. Perception. Where are you perceiving life from? Are you looking at the wave coming down? Are you preparing for it to surf through it? And this is what Diwali, per se, is all about. This is what understanding the fall is all about. I do a course called 12 Days of Consciousness, and that is like the last, if you didn't do Diwali, this is the last hope of grabbing at the clutches and getting things together. However, if you prepare for Diwali and get that right, it's a smooth sail through the winter solstice period. You're riding on the opposite polarity rather than following the seasonal depression. And this is the key. I'm so excited. We've got the retreat starting at the beginning of October, and those participants, they are so in for a treat as always. It's like the right time of year, the right time of energy. They're in the right atmosphere, and the program, the resilience, the nature of the program in whole, it's so enriching that coming to this retreat space to do what we're going to do, again, tick so many boxes. I'm not saying it's impossible to do what we're going to do at the retreat at home, but the odds of the quality, again, it's like chalk and cheese in one aspect. For instance, our program, we're looking at a neuroscientific aspect. We're looking at a metaphysical aspect. We're looking at conscious management aspect. We're looking at energy appropriate aspect. We're looking at the physical. So we're not just detoxing the body. There's many retreats out there where you can go just for a detox, and some of them actually are really good. Some of them are actually really good. Some of them, again, falls into some serious high price brackets. So, some of them could cost you all 4,000 or 5,000 just for a detox. And why would you go to a retreat for a detox? Well, in that area, everything is set. For 4,000 or 5,000. Some of them are rip-offs, but the ones that are really real, the service that you're getting from the oil massages, the Ayurvedic services, there are some practitioners in the field. Again, they're literally like surgeons. I have a beautiful Ayurvedic doctor that's associated with Transcending Matters, Dr. Radhika. And if you have a chance to get her to treat you for anything, whether you're on a retreat or not, the whole process is you feel like, wow, you're dealing with an expert. And if you have her or she has you in her space, you feel like you're on a retreat. She's an expert. So it's horses for courses. It just depends on where you're at and what you actually want to embrace on your is retreats for everyone. The word retreat, you have to understand about the word retreat is it's your willingness to retract. It's your willingness to retract. Outside of your willingness to retract, what you're doing is patching up. You're just patching up along the way. You're patching, you're sticking a patch here, you're sticking a patch there, and you're not addressing the core problem. You're just sticking patches on. You're dealing with this, okay, you might have a bit of bloated. Yeah, let me go on some this and get rid of the weight. And then in 2-3 months, the weight's back and even more. What happened? You didn't check out the neurological aspect. You didn't check out the 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 intellectual trauma, the emotional trauma, the residual trauma in the sanskars to stop a repeat behavior or change a perspective that a new behavior comes in so that dynamic doesn't repeat itself. So it's your willingness to retract from your old self. That is why people go to retreats and look for aid in that space, because sometimes when you retract to a space and there's no guidance as to what to do next, then this is what normally makes you fall back into habits and old formulas that don't actually work. But when you actually get that guidance, that people help you to retract and find a new perception and a trusting space to empty, let go. Sometimes it's tears, sometimes it's letting go of old belief systems that just don't work for you anymore and embracing new ones in a community where there's support, there's trust, there's understanding, new insight, new formulas are born. And it's such a powerful thing. So many things can change on that level. You know, seeing people, the level of transformation that I've seen, it's ridiculous. It's dumbfounding. And I would never, even for my own transformation, it is priceless. It is priceless. And to actually be able to share that and empower others. And the beautiful thing, I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and the sentiment of the conversation was, in a nutshell, what is it that transcending matters as a whole is looking for from their followers. And I went, no, 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 no. We're not looking for followers. We're not trying to develop followers. Our aim is to develop leaders. Well, our aim is to fully develop fully autonomous beings that are fully independent on all levels. We don't want to be a lightning rod or a crutch for people. We're not looking for. I remember when I was studying psychology and some of the things, as you're taught these things, you see how the system is set. So there's a process of how the money is always consistently made. It's a part of the machinery. Like, we know how to deal with it, but let's not just give them the cure straight away. Otherwise, they might not come back. And it's all in marketing and so forth. You know, there's all these teaser things to draw you in, draw you in, draw you in, draw you in. And you get part of the message, and you got to pay a big subscription to get another part and another part and another. Can't be bothered. That's too long. When there's so much to talk about and so much to understand, it's too long. It's quicker, it's better to just get you into leadership position, and it's more empowering for everyone all around. And that's our kind of stance at Transcending Matters. It's not about followers. It's about passing on information that develops leaders, that gives people there and empowers their autonomy and their sovereignty. So let's get into the full thing. Let's get into Diwali. Let me dive into this presentation and jump straight into it. So we are looking at the cycle of the 4 seasons. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, spring, summer, autumn, winter. And each season has its potential. And within this potential, it is potent with certain characteristics. And this potential, this potency, you could say in common terms, spreads like a virus and infects everything around it until it becomes a duplication of it, that the presence of it becomes more powerful and more prevalent and more manifested. So the characteristics of spring, everything becomes spring bound. You know, when the winter cold comes off and the spring is coming off and the sun starts to, you know, twinkle in the months of April, March, April, there's a, oh, looking forward to that. Yeah, this year is going to be, yeah, I can't wait to get into it. Yeah, that cold is done. I'm ready. Yeah, hope we're going to have a good summer. I want a good summer. You know, so spring, you're getting ready for a good summer. Yeah, that whole charge towards a good summer. Summer, summer comes. Am I prepared for the summer? Am I going to get into it? Yeah. Do we get to go on holiday? Yeah. The bright summer, yeah. Long summer, whoa. Whoa, autumn's coming. Oh, autumn's coming. Quick, let's quick get some last bits in. Autumn comes, bam. Sharp dip, wind start blowing, leaves are drop off the tree then. Everything changed. Oh, all the fun's gone. What's going on? What do we do now? Oh, it's going to be boring now. Oh, everything's dying around us. Oh, so there's a part of your personality that starts to die with it. Then as come winter come, okay, let's have a bit of Christmas to see if we can raise up the spirit a bit. Yeah. Whoa, wobbly, wobbly New Year's. Yeah, write some New Year's resolution. Oh, I'm not doing that again. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, this year I'm going to, bloody, jeez. And you repeat that pattern over and over and over and over again. It's just that every time the pattern comes again to spring, you got a little less energy. You got a little less drive. You got a little less enthusiasm. It starts to wind down. It starts to slow down. It starts to, and you start to fear, even though summer might be as boring as hell now, the dreaded autumn. The dreaded autumn, because even though you never went up with the summer, you still have to go down with the autumn. You still have to fall, even if you didn't peak. That fall, that pull down, because the potency and the potential to heighten the sense of the potency is prevalent. So spring, summer, autumn, winter, spring, summer, autumn, winter, spring, summer, autumn, winter, that cycle. And those colors there that I've shown depicts a very specific connotation of the circadian rhythm that the body, the mind, the intellect, the memory, the whole pack has to go through in accordance and alignment with nature. That there's no missing it. You can't avoid it. Well, you can actually avoid it if you work with the program of changing the duality. But if you run along on the hamster wheel, this is what the hamster wheel would have you do. And if everybody else is on the hamster wheel, pulling you along to say, no, don't go anywhere else, come on the hamster wheel. Where you going? You're supposed to be on the hamster wheel. And then the hamster wheel crashes. And then everybody tries to help pack and put this hamster wheel back together to assemble it how it used to run. And everybody gets back on it, doing the same thing until it mash up. So there's got to be a point where you have to realize running on this hamster wheel has to stop. And what is the result of coming off the hamster wheel? Well, the hamster wheel is designed to spiral down. You want to spiral up. The hamster wheel is designed to spiral down. Consciousness is supposed to spiral up. The process of becoming is supposed to spiral up at all times. So these colors that I've picked to depict the moods of the circadian rhythm are very specific and very telltale-ish. And we're going to dive into that. Let's look at what it is that is really prominent about the seasons. So spring, you're full of zest. You're full of beans. You may not know it, but that full of potential is now present in your being, full of potency. You're looking forward to this summer period. You jump into the summer until you literally burn out yourself. Yet that potential of high energy all comes out. And after that potential burns out, then the remainders now have to go through a whole process of recycling, regeneration. Now, in nature, when you see leaves fall around a tree, the same leaves are going into the soil, going through the process of degeneration in the soil and coming back into the tree sap to replenish the tree. Now, one of the reasons why trees get sick is, especially in the Western world, is because we move all the leaves and the branches. Anytime the leaves drop on ground, we move them, soup them up. And it has to find a whole new zest of energy to try and come back and come back. And this is why trees in the West suffer more than those that are in natural nature. So that lack of replenishment of natural elements that is used to replenish the tree, to bring it back to its natural fullness and then some the next year, is what's missing in the tree that you see on the high street. It's like the tree on the high street always stays the same. It doesn't move. It gets trimmed. It gets put back into shape. It gets conditioned. It gets manipulated against its will. And the natural food that for its whole natural process is taken away until the tree ends up with cancer and then it has to get cut down. And the human experience is very, very much like this. That same process of deterioration is very much like this. That essence of ourselves that we're supposed to use to nourish back ourselves, we dash it where? We ruin the essence of ourselves in the fall. We become so moody and so offish and so, I don't know what the word is, but it's totally opposite to spring. It's the total opposite to spring. Just like summer is a total opposite to winter, autumn is a total opposite to spring. Spring is all about the uprising, the new shoots, the new sprout. Whereas autumn is about the new level of decay or the new rapidness of decay, how fast the process of decay is going to happen. So if you're not used to replenishing yourself appropriately in the autumn, then your speed of decay expediates every time it comes round. In fact, it is said in Bhagavad Gita, specifically about the time of death when souls travel from this period, and seasonal. There's a seasonal concept of if the soul passes during this time, it shows good evolution of the soul that the soul has been practicing while it was in the mundane realm. Whereas if it passes in the time of decay, so there's these things have been looked at from so many different aspects and levels, and so much to be appreciated when you understand it as a whole and know what you can do to appropriate yourself so you don't speed up your process of decay, especially by joining in with the mass that are promoting this decay or is about this decay or speaks in the concept of decay. How can you tell? Well, if the conversation or the remark or the gesture, we live in a society right now where the flippancy of the word or the disregard of the word or the inability to show appreciation for a situation or so forth, it's more like, that's rubbish, that's no good, yeah, you don't do that, no, you don't have to do that, blah, blah, that, blah, blah, blah. Now, all of these things that you're doing, if you knew the power of your word, when they say do good unto others or love thy neighbor as much as you love yourself, or all of these connotations, it's really a deep connotation. And because we live in this capitalistic society where everybody has to be seen as the best and disregard the rest, that's the most damning thing that you could actually do. You're not in the space of the well-wisher of all. You're far from. You're actually dwelling more in the space of the miser. And this is what Bhagavad Gita detests from the core. You have to know the characteristics of the miser. So we have to be careful when we speak, because this is the first energy that leaves us, the words that leave our mouths. When we're speaking good of a situation, we're empowering ourselves. When we speak indifferent of a situation, we're disempowering ourselves. So if you've got something bad to say about something, it's best you don't say it at all. Because that energy leaving your mouth is perpetuating the cycle downwards. One of the things that I'm going to implement on the retreat, one of the first things that I'm going to be implementing on the retreat is a rule of silence and a rule of goodwill. Like, you're only allowed to speak of goodwill. No complaining, no this, no that, no judging, no, just like 72 hours. Train your mouth to only speak good, even in the midst of the horrors and the. Train your mouth to only speak good. You see, in Diwali, there's many times from the Western world that people are just observing and say, oh, don't they look like a happy bunch? They look all merry. They look all, all that family orientation. And, they're saying it's the new year. They're all happy. Look at them. They're all happy. They look, we smite the happiness. Jealous of the happiness. Vexed because we can't so happy. Oh, look at them. They're so happy. I don't like them people there, because this, that, and that, and really, but them look so merry, and them have the fireworks, but it looks so pretty and all the colors. And then what does the Western world do? Guy Fawkes, pumpkin, this, that, the other. Straight after I was mentioning this in the fall, understanding the science. I'm going to expose all of that, especially understanding the moon cycles. This is most key. understanding the moon cycles throughout the year and the relation between the moon and the sun and what is happening psychologically in the relation and how this psychological effect affects behavior. So there's a point where it becomes dark. There's a reason why they say Diwali, light over darkness, because the darkness that's gonna come is dark. And there's cults upon cults that support this darkness coming in. It's interwoven into society that yes, now it's Halloween and woo and war and the ghoulies come out and just, the bats come out and woo spiral down. That's not the nature of the spirit. The spirit ain't no doppy. The spirit ain't no ghost. The spirit ain't no woo. Shouldn't be entertaining that. You're going the wrong way. Completely the wrong way, even if it's for jest and for laugh. You're on the wrong side of the fence. So it's already known in certain psychological aspects, understanding the seasonal effects on the human brain, the seasonal effects on the brain chemistry, and on the vagus nerve and so forth and so forth and so forth. And an Olympian at life, let's go there. An Olympian at life would know exactly what to do to overcome the ill effects of the environment. An Olympian has to train 4 years. He has to train. There's no excuse under the planet that stops an Olympian from training or performing. Nothing. A professional footballer, don't care what type of rain, snow, this, that, they're trained to go out there and give a good game. If it's snowing, run like this. If it's raining, run like this. If it's sunny, make sure we have water by the side of the bench. They're trained to master all conditions and come out as winners. It's just that the average person has no concept of this and is smited by the changes and not understanding how to deal with the brain chemistry that's happening throughout the seasons. So, outside of the 4 seasons, there's what you call the 4 seasons of human life, which is another broad spectrum circadian rhythm that is playing out. That's playing out. And you've got youth, you've got childhood, youthhood, maturehood, and retirement space. And again, it depends how you manage your stages through life, is how much buoyancy you've got for the last stage. How much energy you've got to perform the last stage. Well, that, broke up and, twist up. And outside of a physical connotation, what's more important is the thought process that is going through these stages. And like I said, that spiraling, if you're spiraling downwards, if you're going by the time you reach a mature state and your mind is consistently spiraling down, you're shortening each lifespan. You're shortening each season. And each season becomes more bitter and bitter and bitter and bitter. Until you can't take enough bitters to get rid of the bitterness where I hold in you. So you have to finally come to the understanding that it's not just mastering the day. It's not just mastering the moment. You have to work with a process of insight, hindsight, and foresight. So you can keep your youthhood, your youthliness in your elder days, in your older days. Claim back your youthfulness and bring it to your older days. And this can happen for anyone through appropriating the mind and aptitude. So just to really kind of depict what we're looking at here. Spring, that new sprout of being, that green, fresh energy, no matter how broken you are, you still have to make an attempt at life. So that little new shoot at life is saying to you, yeah, I'm gonna try a little thing. So that's freshness. No matter how broke you feel, you still have to give it a go. And then summer is all about that vibes, that glow, that enjoyment of being, sharing, connecting, blossoming. And as soon as that period done, existential pain kicks in. Existential pain kicks in hard like a woof. The unspoken conversation. Existential depression kicks in. The worry, the mindset, the meagerness, the miserliness. And as it slowly, you start to become dopified, excuse my French, but you start to take on the characteristics of, in Bhagavad Gita, this would be tamasic. You start to take on tamasic qualities until you drive yourself to the point of the dark night of the soul. And this cycle keeps going round and round and round and round. For the average person who knows not, if you ask somebody who practices Diwali, no, we don't do this. We don't get none of this. No. That's no. So there are deeper potentials, deeper states of potentials, deeper qualities, deeper qualities outside of the average space of existence that depict what existential pain looks like. But if you are covered and smothered with this ideology of existential pain, you have to play along. Now, all of a sudden, seasonally, you're not a nice person. You can't help yourself. You're just not a nice person. You're grumpy. You're just not a nice person. And you're heading towards, unconsciously knowing that that period of the dark night of the soul is approaching. So you become darker and darker. Your smiles become faker and faker. And your existence become weaker and weaker. Because you're trapped in this vicious cycle. And again, when we look at things like Bhagavad Gita or Mandukya Upanishads, The depiction of understanding that process of reincarnation, cycle of accumulating karma that does you no good and keeps you stuck on this plane. The ultimate circadian rhythm that the soul is on, this process of keep doing this thing over and over and over again. That part of the matrix that is associated with the pull of the gunas. The pull of the gunas, what are the gunas? The quality. You've got goodness, passion, and ignorance always playing out to compete for attention. And it's so hard to stay in the space of goodness. So in Bhagavad Gita, it's, what's the word that I would use? It's advised to work above the three modes. Work in the space of transcendence. Don't work in the modes because you'll get caught up in the modes. You've got to transcend the modes. And outside of the modes, let's look at the modes, because this is all indicative to the fall, all indicative to understanding that process, that cycle. So if we looked at this imprint, desires are strong in spring. The potential of desires are rich. The potential of contemplation of growth is rich in the spring. The potential of action is rich in the summer. The potency of action is rich in the summer. The potency or the potential of ignorance is in the fall. The potential and the potency of reflection, checking out the impressions, the sanskars, is in the winter. So the internal trick is to, if you rise above this and stay in the space of transcendence, your desires will be based in the space of the mode of goodness. Your actions will be based in the mode of goodness. You nullify engagement with the process of ignorance, because you're enriched in the process of transcendence. You fly past the ignorance. So then when it comes to the point of impressions now, that process is evolution of the soul. But if you dive deep into the ignorance, if you dive and you're just going with the ignorance, and you're stuck in the ignorance, and you're playing along with the ignorance, and you're all about the ignorance until it's ignoramus, then what? Two wrongs never make a right. It's funny. It's so funny because it's so funny. I've witnessed this myself in talking with people at one part of the year. It's all merry. Come to another part, it's ignorant. And I'm thinking, whoa, they've got seasonal disease. They're not able to transcend above the space of ignorance. They're stuck, and they're just staying stuck in their ignorance. And what is ignorance? Working with the lack of knowledge. You've told yourself so much stupidness and foolishness, you'd rather believe in your own foolishness than actually work with the truth. This is how stupefied this level of ignorance can have you. And it's prevalent. You know, you'd be scratching your head and thinking, hold on, I'm sure I said this. How comes they've understood it? Ignorance. Ignorance. The fall. So we have to be super, super mindful of this thing playing out. Because what it looks like is when you put ignorance at the core of operations, it affects the whole entire chain. It affects the whole entire flow, left to the right. It affects your Pida and Ingala. The Shushumna's out. Forget it. Shushumna ain't got nothing. Bliss ain't got nothing. It's just leaving you in the mud, spiraling downwards. And the ignorance, which is at the core, affects the consciousness. And that affects your karmic formations. That affects your prism. And that affects the formation of your mind and matter. Your physical being has to respond to this ignorance. The calling of more disease, the calling of more uncomfortabilities in your being has to become more prevalent, especially if you're holding on to the seed process of being ignorant. There's no joy in your state of being. Your core set, your baseline state is distasteful. You don't even enjoy your own company. It's not even passionate, it's just distasteful. And this is shaping your becoming. You're adding to your process of becoming. This affects your mind matter and your 6 senses. But people say, oh, you only have 5. No, there's 6. You just shut off to it. And you're more engrossed in the 5 senses. And with the 6th sense, even common sense should be considered a sense, but we can't even count that because there's a saying, not a lot of people got common sense. So this ignorance affects all these inner aspects of being until it now affects everything you come in contact with. Everything. Animate, inanimate, conscious, unconscious. And that directly creates a feeling. So even though you're ignorant, you might move this, you've anchored this to make you relish more unconsciously more in the space of ignorance. You've deliberately put it there to remind you to be ignorant. Little do you know. And this feeling amplifies a craving, which highlights even more stress in your being. Craving, stress. It could be craving, and it's not like craving like, oh, I crave chocolate. It could be money to pay the bills. It could be anything. Whatever is putting your mind into crave mode. Where am I going to get this from? No. How am I going to do this? No. And this craving creates a clinging. Which affects your process of becoming. And you're giving birth to rapid decay and death. Yeah? What's happening internally? Sorrow, suffering, lamentation, grief and despair. No room for joy. No room. No room for a little smile. No room for a little joke. So this is a very serious thing to look at. How do we break this pattern. How? Why is it important to break this pattern? And who else knew about this pattern outside of those that are following Diwali? And like I said, Diwali is a new age word for the whole thing. But understanding what's actually happening at the core in developing a mindset that is dependent. The more that you can break down these spaces, the more dependent someone is coming outside. The lack of autonomy, the lack of sovereignty, the more of spiritual slavery, conscious slavery, lenient dependency on other people, systems, this and that, lack of accountability. All of these things are affected by exactly what you're looking at here. However, your interjection at the right time, at the right space, if you address the ignorance and bring the ignorance to light and where it's supposed to be, like really address it and get rid of it quick so you can change your karmic formations, it really does nullify and bring a whole new spin to the cycle. That you are actually, while it's dim for others, you're green like gold. You want to be green like gold. So that process of using gold, using light to overcome the ignorance is key. The beauty about understanding the esoteric aspects of this is that many ancient civilizations knew of this. It's just in the Western world, teaching people this will disempower the narrative. It will disempower Christmas. It will disempower what do you call it? The commercial aspect. The whole wheel would start to collapse in many, because you will not be dependent on so many external delusional stimuli. You're self-perpetuating upwards and also magnetizing greatness to you. So it's only in addressing the ignorance that you get a chance to correct the karmic formations. This is important. It's addressing the karmic formations. Now, the thing about Diwali that is really prominent is understanding the communal aspect where they all come together to aid in this grooming, because they know doing it by yourself at this time, it's too hard. This is why community matters most in the time of the fall. Community is the key signature. How well can you communicate? How well can you actually build instead of break down? You see nature breaking down. How well can you build? The opposite polarity to breaking down is building. Is your speech about building? Or would you break down everybody else just for you to look good? Are you a builder? Are you one that speaks good of others in a way that builds them? Or are you about breaking down and just talking bad about everything? Are you in this? Are you falling with the season? So the beautiful thing, like I was saying, that family orientation, the connectivity, being in Radhakund at the time of Diwali, I'd have to say that it was the most poignant and most special time of my entire life. Being in a community that is fully charged with life's optimum vibratory energy. They don't care whether they know you or not. They just want to know that you're smiling, you're laughing, you're happy. You're good. You're hungry, eat some prasad. Come, let's jump in the Yamuna River at midnight. Me can't swim, can't this, can't that. Listen, I'm jumping in the river. Not Yamuna River, no, sorry. The pond. There's Radhakund pond and Krishna Kund. And at midnight, jump in there. It's beautiful experience. The amount of charge and love and bliss and engagement in the arena and the area. The streets are packed. It's a festival. There's no liquor. There's no alcohol. There's no meat. There's no nothing like that. And the amount of food, the trays of food all around the kund and this and that. Everybody coming hungry. Blah 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 blah. Now, just witnessing it, just witnessing the amount of effort that these people give towards joy and making sure everybody, yeah. And it's so beautiful. And it's so empowering, the impressions, because this is how we develop sanskars. Sanskars are impressions of the mind. So if, for instance, you give out a flimsy thought, it doesn't go very far. You have an experience that doesn't tickle your senses, you're not going to remember it. But you have something that's really impacting that goes bam to your senses, to your tastes, to your sight, to the touch, all of these things is more stimulating than sex. And that charge of connectivity and all of that, you don't forget that. That becomes a very strong impressional sanskar in your chitta, in your memory, in your flow. And it keeps calling, yeah, let's do that again. Let's do that again. Let's build on that. Let's keep doing that. That keeps building. So that flow of memory that's always building and building towards build more joy, build more joy, build more joy. Let's do it, more joy. And that impression of the joy is so powerful, so sustaining, so potent that it outshines the period of ignorance. It puts you into a space of being. It's like you go on a massive holiday that when months after when you come back from the holiday, you still feel like you're there on the holiday. That's what doing Diwali properly is all about. So just looking at it from a really deep perspective, and on the time wheel again, if we look at the wheel of karma and how karma is generated from the thought plane through to action, first it starts with choice. And the choice is it an attractive or repulsive state that you're in? If you're feeling repulsive within, there's no way you can make a good action. It's going to be charged with that toxicity of repulsion. You can't get away from it. It's just there. So the action is based on repulsion. Or let's look at it in a balanced way. Your action is based on attraction. Do you feel attractive in yourself, within yourself in the moment? So attraction and repulsion, and they feed the concept of agami karma, which is now the results is merit or demerit. That's the results. They speak for itself. And the demerit obviously feeds into their ignorance. Sanchitta karma, which is feeding that ignorance goes round to parabdha karma. And this is the birth, identification with the body and everything that comes with it, the mind, the intelligence, the whole nine. You're giving birth to the body heading towards pain or pleasure. And the only place where you can break that point is in that space where ignorance is prevailing. That's the point where the karma cycle can be broken. Because everywhere else, you're too involved. You're too involved. But just before contemplation, before you give birth to it, even in the space of knowing that you're in a state of ignorance, before you give birth to the ignorance, this is where you break the point. And again, communities knew this at large. This is why they've done it all together, because the more as a community that you do it, the greater the result. Now, part of the machinery is not only just to break down communities, it's to actually break down family units. So understanding the depth of this on a greater scale, it could be so far out of your mind. So far out of your mind. You know, the stats are 52% of the human population can't swim. I'm not the greatest swimmer, but I'm glad I changed my perception on swimming and decided to go swimming less. It's the greatest thing I've ever done. To come out of that ignorance of thinking, okay, it's okay not to swim because 52% of the human population don't want to know nothing about swimming. But is that in a space of evolution? No. So break that point of ignorance, get in the water. Sister Esme gave me my first, listen. Break the point. This is the time to break the point so you don't give birth to pain, repulsion, and demerit. And these are things that you feel within yourself. Don't even worry about what others are saying about you, who others are talking about you, who are stuck in the space of let's just demerit, 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 demerit. Let's put down. This is the problem. Everybody's quick to put down everybody else. That's the general connotation. That's the sign of the times. Don't join in. Break the ignorance. Break the cycle. It's important for your own well-being. And when you break the cycle, you become the center of a whole new community. And even if it's three owner, it's best that there's a tree. If it's six owner, at least in that level of association. Again, there's a thing, Bhagavad Gita. Know who you're associating with. I love if I had time to talk to you about the Mahabharata and stuff, of one of the greatest epics of all time, if you watch that, there's a character in there called Shakuni. The name sounds dodgy already, isn't it? The Shakuni person is that person, you know, they'll be up in front of your face, but as soon as they turn you back, they will say anything. No. You have to be careful of associating with Shakunis. Yeah, it is. And it's only when you step out of, when you break the cycle of ignorance, when you realize, wow, this is actually true. And you become a central point to that. And you start to realize who's willing to work with you on that. It's such an empowering thing. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, but you know that circle is tight knit. Tight knit. You see the retreat I'm actually can't wait. It's like even most of the attendees I know already. I can't wait to see that. I've got so much love for them in my heart. It's, oh my gosh, the amazement of being, the laughter, the joy, the connectivity, the talks, it's not something that you get a chance to do every day with most times. It's, talking about how depressed things are and how bad this is and all of that. That's not life. That's not living. That's not livity. No, not at all. So break the karmic point, and we're going to be looking into that as we go through these deep understandings of Diwali and there's another word, Deepavali. Which one is actually correct? So we're going to have a look at the etymology and some semantics of the word quickly. So Diwali, like I said before, is not a Sanskrit word. Diwali is the later Prakrit modern Indo-Aryan contraction via Hindi and other languages such as Neo-Sanskrit, not classical Sanskrit, not Dravidian Sanskrit, not real Sanskrit per se. In fact, if you go through all the Sanskrit texts and so forth, you wouldn't see the word anyway. The word that you would most likely see in classic Sanskrit writings is the word Deepavali. In the West, they use two I's for pronunciation, but the line above the letter means you extend the pronunciation of the word. So it's Deepavali. So the classic Sanskrit word Deepavali, not Diwali, is formed Deepa, mean lamp, light, Avali, rose, a row of lamps, a row of lights. Attested, you find Deepavali in standard Sanskrit lexicons and texts as the name of the Kartika new moon festival. Related Sanskrit names, Deepotsava and Deepamalika. Those are other two words that you would find in Sanskrit writings that relate to Deepavali, but the word Diwali, you won't find it. But let's look at the parallels. Late autumn light purification observances across Africa and the Mediterranean before Diwali even came into place. So it was known way back in ancient Egypt, Lower Egypt of Sais, and the Lichnakaya, lighting of the lamps. Citywide, oil lamps burned outdoors through the night. Households set shallow saucers with oil wicks, communal night-long illumination. Themes: warding darkness, civic cohesion. What do we mean by civic cohesion? Communal, civilization. Let's all get together and do this. Let's come together as a community and do this. Visibility, also honoring the goddess Nate. So very deep. Also, again in ancient Egypt, nationwide, the Kahayak mysteries of Orisis, late autumn again, regeneration rites for Orisis during the darkening months, processions, and agricultural symbolism. Again, understanding the relationship between crops and moon cycles and how moon cycles affects the soil, the earth, the potency or the impotency of the soil, whether it's good or not to actually plant seeds during that period or not. These alchemic sciences were a way of life for the Kemetic times of Egypt. And they understood that whole cycle of rebirth and understanding how to rise from the drama, especially at the time of autumn. So the themes, decay versus renewal, aligning agriculture and myth at the year's waning light. Very up to the time and understood this. Again, in this times, in this Western approach of living, none of this is it. And the degradation of human behavior, it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. What is it that we're missing? And the thing is, even though the mass is doing this or not engaging in this, those that are actually following the laws of nature and do engage, they actually have more prosperous. The evidence is there. They're actually more prosperous. They're actually having a better life. So Ethiopia, Geese, Amharic, Mescal, September the 27th, 28th, bonfires, Demara, lit in city squares and villages, communal gathering, songs, dance marks discovery of the true cross. Themes, fire as guidance, communal purification, and peace seeking. Peace seeking, not trouble causing. You see the difference? And this is practiced from Ethiopian standards, from still practiced today. And again, we can't see it because we're too caught up in the trouble causing. Can't wait for Halloween. Can't wait for this and that. Again, Ghana, Akan, Akwapem, week-long purification, thanksgiving, remembrance, renewal of stools, symbols of authority, ancestry, timed to post-harvest abundance. Themes, cleansing, gratitude, social order, readiness for the new cycle. So historically, right across the terrains, we knew this, we were doing these things. And now, we don't know where we are, keep up, we're doing it. What's in is not in, it's out of whack. So there is a deep, there's a deep resonance to get yourself in order with nature to avoid these vicious cycles and get appropriated. The pit stop, the check-in, the readiness for the new cycle. You start now. Don't wait till New Year's Day about you doing New Year's resolution. That's on the other side. Let me see now, where are they? October, November, December, January. That's 4 months. That's a whole solstice or a whole equinox. And a bit more. Well lit. So understanding light, fire, cleansing, bonding element is the key concepts. You're bringing more light to your being. You're bringing more fire, more energy, more gusto in a particular way, in certain aspects, not in actions. It's the internal work. The ability to bond, to connect is important. The centralizing of the inner joy, connecting with Paramatma. They began on some deep levels, but the ability to be in check with your divine, loving inner being is so important. It's so important. Because without that, life really not tastes good, none at all. So the key thing, as nights lengthen, communities adopt light bringing and order renewing rituals, tying cosmic time, social time, and bodily time all into one. All into one, so it's congruent and cohesive. Cosmic time, social time, and bodily time. And that's a very beautiful sentiment, because it does make you feel a part of something, a community, a belonging, a togetherness. And, we always talk about, feel with communities, bad minded, but again, we have to start the process in the ignorance. And this is the best time to actually start, even on a communal level, as bad as it is, address it, become something different. Energetically appropriate yourself, that you can become an influencer rather than a manipulator. These are the most powerful times to change and create that transition. It's the easiest time of all the seasons. In winter, it's too stuckitis, too stuck. Nobody never want to know you then. Spring, everybody's about their own business. Summer, everybody's too busy. Autumn is the time when communities come together to build. Black History Month, perfect time. It's all about the community. But having the right mindset of how you enter this community, what are you bringing love to the community? Are you the well-wisher of all in the community? Are you the uplifter of everyone in the community? Or are you just doing what is distasteful in the communities because you see everybody else? Now, it's time to make a difference in the community, and that starts with you, and that starts with addressing cosmic time, social time, and bodily time, and unifying them now. So, looking at it deeply from a sort of environmental position, and a lot of times I'll speak about Akadashi, the fasting of moon cycles, and understanding how the moon affects our being, especially going through the year, and the relationship with the sun, depending how far the sun is and so forth. The moon would have a different type of pull, and in Sanskrit, the moon that is associated with Deepavali is the Amavasya moon. Now, what is so significant about this moon? The astronomical thing is the sun, moon, earth alignment places the moon in the daytime sky with its night side facing earth. Illuminating fraction 0. The darkest monthly night. It's the darkest night of the year. You think, how is that possible? So that, again, the sun's drifting, and its relationship to the moon is the darkest night of the year. Well, you might think it's winter solstice. No, that's the longest. That's the longest dark night. But the darkest night of the year is the Amavasya moon. So significance in the Vedantic Jyoti, Amavasya, dwelling together of sun and moon, a time of inwardness, seed setting, and clearing tamasic qualities, inertia, dullness, and to invite sattva, clarity, upfulness. Circadian physiology, maximal dark allows unbroken melatonin rise after dusk, warm low lux lamp light, that's the lamps, supports sleep, timing, memory consolidation, and immune recalibration. So when you're working with it, there's benefits to it. If you're working outside of it, you're working on the other side of the polarity. So if you're not working with the immune recalibration aspect, your immune system is popping down even faster. So again, even with this retreat coming up, it's all in timing. Everything is so them lucky, it's lucky, because that the amount of cleansing that we're getting, not just from a physical, but energetic, mental, intellectual, is so all in alignment with the Amavasya moon that is coming up. So you're going to be in the perfect state to resonate in the most upfulness way, should I say, in the most appropriate way. So the three bridges, sky, body, meaning. Sky, the highest light, dark contrast of the month. Awe and orientation, body, darkness, low arousal state, parasympathetic dominance, better sleep onset and quality. Meaning we enact small lights against vast dark. Collective coherence and courage. Let's just go back. So parasympathetic dominance means your parasympathetic nervous system, PNS, the rest, digest, restore branch is more active than the sympathetic, the fight or flight branch. What it does to your body, your heart and breath rate slows down, your breathing deepens and lengthens. Your digestive system, your saliva is much richer, your stomach acid is more balanced, and your gut movement increases. You're more likely to start flowing. So that ability for the system to work fully is now at its most peak. This is the advantages of playing the game and getting your body into alignment after the ups of summer and the burnouts and so forth. This is recalibration time. So muscles tension eases, pupils may constrict slightly, immune repair, body shifts towards maintenance, recovery, and sleep readiness. And the mind is calmer. You got a calmer mood, a wider perspective, and easier social connection. Easier social connection, so much that the dark night of the soul is no longer an alienated path where you feel like you have to take on by yourself. And so the key thing is to do the work now. Get into it now. And the deeper side of understanding the whole flow of Deepavali, it's not just a one-day event. There's 7 days around Deepavali as a whole. In fact, if you're serious about it, it's a whole month. There's people right now who's really engrossed in the whole thing. They're like, yeah, they know the polarity, they know the richness of the polarity of getting things right and doing it right and bang on time with the moon and this and that. And again, abundance upon abundance and the flow and everything. And it's all about intentionally appropriating yourself, that you have the right aptitude and you're doing the right energetic things on those days. Because whatever you put out has to come back. Simple law. So if you're serious about it, you'd start from now. Don't just wait for Diwali, which is the Diwali thing is literally on the new moon. Whereas the preparation for Diwali, for instance, the Ekadashi, there's always an Ekadashi before the new moon. There's always an Ekadashi before Diwali, before the new moon. Now, if you don't do the Ekadashi, you miss out on the fullness of the benefits. And there's specific things about the Ekadashi, which is on the Friday before the Sunday. So even the Friday, it's not even, if you're serious about it, it's not just like, let's just wait till Friday and then we do a Kaddishi. Now there's a whole, everybody's getting into the thing. They're starting to declutter. They're starting to detox. They're getting, there's them start clean up, and that's where things from nowhere. Then they know that this is going to go anyway. They start now so that they're easing the burden. So by the time that whole implication of newness is to, they're not fighting and tripping over themselves. They're getting to it from now. The declutter, the getting rid of, they're doing it now. If you just want to do it by the textbook and just wait till the Kaddishi, oh yeah, Kaddishi, I'll do a clear out. Suppose you got a whole heap of things to clear out. I'd say get on it now. Get on it now. The more you clear out is the more you're making room for new energy, new potential, new growth. So the Ekadashi pre the new moon is on the Friday, the 17th. And that new moon transition falls on Sunday, Monday, the 19th. And that's when we're going to be having Nexus Essentia, our next event. Again, unplanned, but it just so happens to be right in the bang middle of all of this. So what I would normally be doing with myself, it's going to be exciting at this Nexus Essentia, because we're going to be getting into so much purification concepts and abundance setting, because there's a big relation to abundance in Lakshmi. Is one of the Sanskrit names that's associated with the concept of abundance. There's so much things. It boils all even down to, if you looked at it through the eyes of deity worship and the extremities of where Hinduism has brought it to, in the deity Lakshmi, outside of the deity Lakshmi, there's an energy. There's 9 aspects of energy of abundance, which is within nature. So you don't necessarily have to look at it through the eyes of demigod worship. When you're looking at it through the eyes of demigod worship, you're still externalizing the whole process and missing a bigger trick. It's all within you. It's all about awakening energies within you, these attractive potencies within you. So you're not always stuck in repulsion. The more attraction you turn on within, these Lakshmi qualities within, it's not about worshipping the deity Lakshmi at the deeper level. Is how do you turn the light switches on within, that you become a magnet to abundance, not a repulsion to it. So all of these things, the more that you clear out the repulsive stuff, is the more that you're making room for the attractive stuff. And this is what and the more that you do it as a community. Oh yeah, I gotta pull this off. I don't know. But it can be done. Start with you. Start with you. Tell a friend. Tell your closest ally. That makes 2. And that attraction there will start to become more and more and more prevalent. If you want to come down to Nexus Ascension and enjoy the electrifying buzz of the presence that we're going to be doing down there on a communal level, again, the information you can check out at transcendingmatters.com. I'll also stick the information down within the description. Get on the program and watch the transition. This is the best time to implement the greatest change. So the next episode that I'm going to be looking at this is really going to be breaking down the 7 days and the 7 stages. It's going to be good. So the key points on day 1 from the Sanskrit position, they focus on Dhanvantari. Now, this is known as the energy of healing. Dhanvantari is known as the Lord of healing in Vedanta. And again, outside of looking at the concept of demigod worship, it's really about rising the energy of healing within. The same thing could be looked at in Egyptology or Kemetic times. The direct correlation is looking at Imhotep, the god of healing. And his teachings was to teach you how to heal yourself, not to go to him to heal. And similarly, this is what Ayurveda is all about. But more interestingly, the reason why I brought this up is to look at what the focus point is on day one of Deepavali. And it's to amplify the healing potential, the healing potency. You first start to detox and then heal. If you look at the physical body, if you want to heal the body, you have to detox it first, detoxify it first before you approach the healing. Otherwise, you will not be getting any nourishments from the medicine. The medicine will be just soaked up in the toxins and it won't reach the cells. So to maximize on cellular regeneration, you have to detox. So that is the last slide. So going forward, the next episode, I'm going to be breaking down the 7 days implicitly to look at the steps in Deepavali and how it all comes together and how we can save ourselves from falling into the pit of demise and enriching not only our lives, but others around us. So beautiful souls, hit that like and subscribe button for more information for when it comes up, and stay bold, stay beautiful, and stay on the best side of being you. Okay? See you for now. Ciao. Om Shanti. Namaste. Salamu Alaikum. Greetings. Ashe.